good day, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join our webinar today. My name is Shweta, and I'm a product marketing consultant here at ManageEngine, and I'll be the host for today's webinar. I have with me Shakti Alais Sean, the product expert from the Key Manager Plus team, who will be the presenter for today's webinar. The topic of discussion today is going to be website or web service outages and how a crucial role the SSL certs play in ensuring continual service uptimes. To get a perspective of the issue in hand, we'll also be analyzing a few real world examples, followed by the best practices for managing your SSL certificates that will help your businesses stay away from such unforeseen outages. So, without further ado, I hand over the mic to Sean, who will be walking you through the rest of the session. Over to you, Sean.
Hi, Shweta. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. A very good morning to you all. I want to thank each of you for taking time from a busy schedule and joining today's webinar. I'm Shakti, your product expert from ManageEngine Password Manager Pro and Key Manager Plus team, and I'm going to be your presenter for today. How often have you tried to access a website or web device to find that it's not accessible? And how often has Chrome or whatever browser you're using has thrown the big red symbol saying the site can't be reached? We all have been there, and it's not only frustrating for end user, but also business owners to have to encounter such downtimes. Big companies have fallen victims for such outages. We'll see some examples to get a picture. Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft Teams, a unified communication and collaboration platform, went down last month for nearly 3 hours after Microsoft forgot to renew a critical security certificate. Users were with error messages attempting to sign into the service, with the app noting it had failed to establish a HTTPS connection to Microsoft servers. Desktop users logging into LinkedIn during the last week of May 2019 were briefly warned by their browsers that doing so was likely to be insecure. Unfortunately, the SSL certificate for the site was let to expire. A similar lapse in renewing an SSL certificate occurred at LinkedIn back in 2017 as well. Oculus VR is a division of Facebook. On March 7th of 2018, users of the Oculus Rift headset around the world found that their devices had stopped working all of a sudden, although there wasn't anything wrong with their hardware. The issue was that the company has failed to renew an SSL certificate in its Rift app. This caused the virtual reality software needed to run the headset to throw a security error message when users attempted to log in. Ericsson, the Swedish multinational networking and telecommunications company, joins the list of organizations that have caused huge service outages for customers because of one expired security certificate. International telecom operator O2 in the UK and Japan, respectively, fell victim to this gaffe on December 6th of 2018. This impacted connectivity for tens of millions of their subscribers around the world, leaving them frustrated. So what really happened is, Ericsson is the manufacturing company behind the back-end gears for many world-renowned cellular networks. The expired security certificate in Ericsson's management software that O2 uses caused service outages for both telecom providers and subscribers across the UK and Japan. Cost of website downtimes. Perhaps the most serious potential effect of site downtime is the cost of lost opportunity. For an e-commerce site, that could mean lost sales. For an educational institution or SMB, it could mean lost registrations or missing out on new leads. Lost productivity is also a major problem. When a website goes down, countless hours can be spent resolving the problem or managing secondary issues. Of equal concern but more subjective is the potential damage to your brand reputation. You only ever get one chance to make a first impression. If your site is down when a news prospect arrives, that sets an immediate red flag. Even if it's a simple transient issue that takes your site down for a few minutes, from that visitor's perspective, you're down. Also, depending upon the length and frequency of your site's downtime, it's possible that your ranking in the search engine result page could be affected. A single event of short duration will likely have minimal long-term effects. Extended or repeated downtime will probably give Google reason enough to replace a site with one that is more reliable. Root causes, unforeseen SSL expirations and as well as certificate revocations. So it's not just SSL expirations which could actually bring down a website. Even if a certificate has been revoked, we will experience the same. Let's Encrypt announced a mass revocation of 3 million SSL certs on March 4th, giving users just potential hours to respond. This action was a result of a bug that was discovered only a few days ago. And in line with the CAB forum baseline requirements, it was required that all the affected certs be revoked in less than 24 hours. So let's see what would be the solution for this. SSL certificate lifecycle management. We should be able to discover all the certificates deployed across the network, and we should be able to consolidate them in a centralized inventory. Streamline certificate signing processes like creating of certificate requests or assigning templates, constantly tracking the usage, and know well before a certificate is going to expire, send out notifications to the certificate owners, and renew SSL certificates well ahead of expiration. We should also be able to deploy these certificates to target machines once the certificates are renewed. So automation is key. Now let's see how we can make use of Key Manager Plus to automate the SSL lifecycle management. Key Manager Plus serves as a one-stop solution for automating your SSL lifecycle operations. As displayed on screen, you can see what as a Key Manager Plus is actually capable of. You'll be able to discover certificates, create certificate requests, get them signed from your internal signing authority or third party, send out real-time notifications on certificate expiry, identify when the certificates are going to expire and send out real-time notifications, and as well as we will be able to renew certificates and deploy certificates to target machine. In addition, Key Manager Plus will also run vulnerability scans to see if any of these certificates are affected by any vulnerability, like for example, Poodle or Heartbeat vulnerability. Even if a certificate is hosted where a weak cipher is being enforced, the vulnerability scan will actually let us know about the same. Discovery. So let's see how certificates are discovered into Key Manager Plus. What you're looking at right now is Key Manager Plus Web Console, and I'm going to take you to the discovery page. So in the discovery page, we have different methods to discover certificates into Key Manager Plus repository. The first method to do this is to discover certificates from the network. So let's say you have a website hosted and you want to manage the certificate of the particular website. All you need here to manage this certificate inside Key Manager is to provide its host name or an IP address and the port number where the certificate is hosted, and we'll be able to discover the certificate. Let me show you an example quickly. So I just provided the host name, and I believe the port number is default 443. I'm trying to discover the certificate right now. So discovery has started. And the tool will also actually show us the discovery audit, and it will let us know if the particular task was a successful or a failure task. So as you can see, it's giving us information on like which certificate discovery was successful and if there was any failure and whatever the reason is for the failure of this particular discovery task. So once this discovery completes, the certificates will be added to the SSL page certificates tab in Key Manager Plus. And you'll also be able to discover certificates using a subnet or from a file which contains a list of all the IP addresses and port numbers in comma separated values. If you have multiple port numbers to discover, you can also provide them here in comma separated values like this. Similarly, you will also be able to discover certificates inside Key Manager Plus from your internal signing authority. So let's say you have a PKI in your organization and you have issued few certificates and you want to manage the certificates using Key Manager Plus. Now, the main requirement here to manage certificates issued by your internal signing authority is to run the Key Manager Plus service with a privileged account, which has enough permissions to discover these certificates for us. So the account used to run the service should have local admin privilege on your MSCA server. So once we have that set, we can come to this page and provide the server name, which is going to be your internal signing authority name. And provide a privileged account and password and discover the certificates. As we have already used a privileged account to run the Key Manager Plus service, I'm just going to have this checkbox enabled, or else I have to manually enter the username and password. So right now I'm just going to keep this checkbox enabled and discover certificates. You can see that we also have an option to like set a date filter from where I can discover certificates, or else I can also specify a certificate template or discover a certificate template, fetch a certificate template, and discover certificates from there. Similarly, if you want to discover certificates from a specific server, like if you have certificates on a specific certificate store on a machine, you can do the discovery by making use of the certificate store discovery from Key Manager Plus. So once again, the Key Manager Plus service account should have local admin privilege on this particular box in order to perform this discovery. And we'll be able to like fetch the stores, or else we can manually like provide the store name and discover certificates from the MMC on this particular box. From Key Manager Plus, you can also discover certificates from your load balancers or else Linux machine. So any machine which can be accessed over SSH, we'll be able to discover certificates using the load balancer certificate discovery option. So all we have to do here is like provide the server name, which is the load balancer name, provide the port number. The default SSH port is 22. In case if a different port is used, so we could very well update it here, and provide the username and password in order to discover the certificates from that particular load balancer. So in case if you're going to use a key, like a private key to perform this authentication, you can very well browse for it in order to complete this authentication. And the next thing is to provide a path. So on the load balancer or else on the next machine, these certificates would be placed on a specific path. So we need to specify the path here and discover certificates. Few organizations use SSL certificates for authentication, and these certificates would normally be tied to specific users. Like for example, if you have an AD credential using which you log in, the SSL certificate will be tied along to it, and the users needs to use those certificates to authenticate into their organization network. So in order to discover these certificates, we can make use of this AD user certificate discovery feature in Key Manager Plus. From the discovery page, we have to specify the domain name, provide the primary domain controller, secondary domain controller information, provide a privileged account and password, and discover the users. So either we can manually specify the username, group name, or the organization unit name, or else we can also go ahead and fetch the group or OU tree and discover the users along with the certificates inside the tool. We also have options to discover certificates from AWS. Last but not the least, we also have an agent, a Windows-based agent in Key Manager Plus, and these agents can be used when there is a firewall in between the Key Manager Plus server and target machines. So for example, let's say you have a firewall or in between Key Manager server and your signing authority, or else your signing authority is behind a DMZ and you want to discover certificates from there. So all we have to do here is come to the agent page, click on download Windows agent, and download the required 32-bit or 64-bit agent on that particular machine, install it. Once it's installed, the agent will automatically communicate with Key Manager Plus server and help us in discovering these certificates. So I have deployed an agent right now on a specific machine. You can see that I'm able to identify this machine from the select agent drop-down, and I'll be able to discover certificates from this page. So these are the different methods using which we'll be able to discover certificates inside Key Manager Plus. Inventory. So the certificates that we have discovered in Key Manager Plus will be securely stored inside Key Manager Plus repository. By default, we bundle PostgreSQL database along with the product. So any information or any certificate that you store inside the tool is going to be completely secure. We enforce dual layer of encryption to encrypt and decrypt this information. So whatever certificate that's been discovered will be stored inside the database and can be accessed by logging inside the Key Manager Plus web console. What we are looking at right now is the certificates page of Key Manager Plus, and from this page we'll be able to list and see all the certificates that has been added or discovered inside the tool. You can see that the certificate information like common name, DNS, issuer, validity, key size, signature algorithm, and domain expiration is displayed in this particular page. If you want to look at the certificate content, you can click on a specific certificate to look at the information. So it's going to display the signature algorithm, fingerprint, SAN name, issuer, or if it contains any additional certificates, all those information will be displayed in this particular certificate's common name. If you want to export the certificates like intermediate certificates or actual root certificates, you can just click on the export button on the right hand side to do the same. And validity information. So you can see that like a few validity dates here are displayed in different colors. If the validity is displayed in red, it means that the certificate has already expired. You can also find a few certificates displaying validity in orange, yellow, or else green. It means that there may be certificates which are going to expire next 60 days or 30 days or 90 days. So it's completely color coded. So we will know if a certificate is already expired by just looking at the certificates page. We can identify which certificates already expired, or else which one is going to expire next 30 days or 60 days. And you can also find the number of days available right next to the validity information. During the discovery process, if Key Manager Plus discovers a web server certificate, let's say, then the tool will also discover the domain expiration information of that particular certificate. Okay, so this will come in handy. Similarly, if the discovered certificate is a wildcard certificate, the tool will go ahead and remember all the servers from where this particular certificate was discovered. So a wildcard certificate could be present on more than one machine. So it could be 1, 20, 100, it could be any number. So if you're going to run a scan using Key Manager Plus to discover these certificates, the tool will remember all the machine names and display the same to us. On the right hand side, you can see few icons highlighted here and say multiple servers. We can just click on it to look at the machine names where the particular certificate is actually deployed. Create and deploy certificates. So using Key Manager Plus, you'll also be able to create certificates or create certificate requests, get them signed from your internal signing authority, or get certificates signed from third-party signing authorities as well. Now let's see how we can create a certificate using Key Manager Plus. So creating a certificate, in the sense it's going to be a self-signed certificate. So we can just click on the create button here and update the columns as required and provide a common name and SAN name and just hit the create button. So this will go ahead and create a self-signed certificate for us. Okay, so the certificate is being generated right now. Okay, now if you want to create a certificate request and get it signed from your internal signing authority, you can very well do that. And this can be done by navigating to the CSR page from the SSL tab. From here, you can just click on the create button. It will take you to a page where you can provide all the required information here to create a CSR. If you already have a key store, you can also use that to create a certificate request, or else provide all this required information, generate a certificate request, and get them signed. In the tool, we also have a template option where you can have your own templates. Okay, so for example, I have a template created here according to my organization's requirement. Likewise, you can have multiple templates created. So once the templates are created, all you have to do here in the CSR page is choose the template, required template. It will automatically fill up the required columns like organization, location, state, country, algorithm, etc. All you have to do here is provide the common name, SAN name, and the validity to create a certificate request. I can also provide SAN names, multiple SAN names here in comma separated values. So once a certificate request is created, if you just want to download the certificate request, you can do that. Or else if you want to send the certificate request to someone over email, that can also be performed from here. So this is a certificate request that we just created. You can look at the content. If you want to export it, you can just click on the export button. Or if you want to mail it to someone, you can just click on the mail button here. And if you want to get it signed, choose the certificate request that you created and click on the sign button. From this page, you can provide your certificate authority information, server name, and certificate template and get the certificate signed. So this is going to be certificates. We are going to get them signed from your internal signing authority. Similarly, if you have a root certificate and if you want to sign certificate request using a specific root certificate, that's also possible. So all you have to do here is add that particular root certificate inside Key Manager Plus and make use of that particular root to sign the CSR that you just generated. So from the CSR page, we can just choose the particular request, click on the sign button, and under the sign type, choose sign with root, and you'll be able to choose the root certificate, provide the validity information, and sign the certificate. We also have an option to sign certificates using agents. So let's say, as we discussed earlier, if there is a firewall in between the Key Manager Plus server and your internal signing authority, you can very well install agent on your internal signing authority server so that the tool will actually get help from the agent to sign certificates or to discover certificates. So signing through agent is also available. So certificates that we just created can also be deployed to target locations. So all you have to do here is choose certificates, click on the deploy button, and you have options to deploy the certificates to either Windows machines, Linux, IIS servers, or if you want to install it onto a Microsoft certificate store on a particular machine, or else even perform IIS binding. CA integration. So integration out of the box with Microsoft Certificate Authority and few leading certificate authorities. So we already saw that we'll be able to directly integrate with the internal signing authority to discover certificates. So that is the Microsoft Certificate Authority option to discover certificates, and as well as options to create CSR and get these CSRs signed from your internal signing authority. So this is possible. Okay, so we have direct integration with the internal signing authority. Similarly, we also integrate with few third-party signing authorities. As you see on screen, we directly integrate with Let's Encrypt, GoDaddy, the SSL store. The SSL store will further allow you to sign certificates from vendors like Sectigo, Symantec, TWAT, GeoTrust, and Rapid SSL. And we directly integrate with DigiCert and Global Sign. So if you want to integrate with any of these third-party signing authorities that we provide out of the box, all you need to do here is like get the API key from the vendor. So for DigiCert, on DigiCert Cert Manager, you can log in using your domain, your admin credentials, create an API key, register it here with us in DigiCert Manage page. Once that is done, the tool will automatically fetch all the existing orders and also import all the certificates that has been issued by DigiCert as of now. So once that is done, you'll be able to like order new certificates for DigiCert, or if you want to renew an existing certificate or reissue a certificate, that can be done. You can also check order status. So it's the same with along the other vendors as well. You can perform the same with Global Sign or the SSL store, GoDaddy, and Let's Encrypt. So this means that you'll be able to sign and renew certificates both from internal signing authority or from third party. Alerting and notification. So Key Manager Plus is capable of sending out notifications about certificate expiry to the certificate owners. So we shall see how that's done. We have different locations from where this expiry information is actually displayed. So one is the certificates page from where you see here. The other one is the dashboard screen. We'll come back to the dashboard screen later, but I just want to quickly show you like how it's actually displayed. So these expiry information can actually be sent out to the owners by enabling the notification. So settings, notification, expiry. So we can specify how often or else like how earlier you want to be notified about the certificate expiry. So we have options like 7, 15, 30, and 60. You can also specify a custom date. And you can also say how often you want these emails to be sent. So for example, let's say you want one email to be sent before 60 days of expiry, one before 30 days, and one before 7 days. That can very well be configured. And you can also specify or else like change the subject of this delivery email. Similarly, the tool is also capable of running vulnerability scans and showing us if any particular certificate is affected by any poodle vulnerability or heartbleed vulnerability. So this can either be performed on demand or else we can also do it according to a schedule. So for example, I have already run a scan on a particular certificate. You can see that it says it's not vulnerable. I will just go in and check like what are the information that's displayed. So it's giving us information as poodle vulnerability as not vulnerable, a heartbeat as not vulnerable, and it also displays in case if there is any CRL revocation status or OCSP revocation status, that would be displayed. And it will also show us the ciphers being used where this particular certificate is being actually enforced, like where the ciphers being enforced. It's going to display those information as well. And if any particular certificate is vulnerable, that information will be sent out to us through alerts, and as well as you'll find them under the dashboard screen under the vulnerabilities page. And we have very intuitive dashboard. So that's something which I was actually displaying earlier, which I was showing earlier. So let me quickly take you to the dashboard screen of Key Manager Plus. So this dashboard of Key Manager Plus is going to provide you the health of the SSL certificates in your organization. So on the right hand side, you can see that it's showing you a graph, like a tabular column about the certificate expiry. So it's going to show you the total number of certificates which have already expired, the ones which are going to expire next 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. So we can also just click on them to identify which certificates are going to expire in so and so dates. So that's one thing. And to the left of it, we have a certificate authority, like a distribution chart, which is going to display information about each signing authority and the number of certificates that's been signed by those authorities. So for example, if we have any certificates signed by GoDaddy or DigiCert, or even if there are any self-signed certificates, those information will be displayed in the certificate authority distribution chart, and it will also provide us a count, as you can see. And it will show us if there are any certificates like the signed using SHA-1. So SHA-1 is currently considered as policy violation. So if there are any certificates that are signed using SHA-1, it's going to provide those information as well. And even if there are any certificates with key size less than 1024, that would be displayed. On the bottom right-hand side, you can find an operation audit, like a live audit. So it's going to show you information about, like, if a certificate request has been created, or else if someone has downloaded a certificate, or whatever has actually happens within the tool, those information will be shown in the operation audit. And most importantly, using Key Manager Plus, you can automate all these actions that we have actually performed. So for example, starting from discovering certificates, or sending out real-time notifications, or renewing those certificates and deploying the certificates to target machine. So this complete process can be automated using Key Manager Plus product. So you can find something called schedule. So if you go to the schedule page, from right here, we can click on add schedule and say we want to run a discovery scan on a so and so interval. So I can specify an IP range or a subnet or a file with the information on IP address and port numbers, and I can say how often I want this particular scan to run. So this will go ahead and run scans. Let's say I want this to run every day, 6 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so it's going to run using this particular range and discover any new certificates and add them inside Key Manager Plus. So the same can also be done for certificate discovery from your internal signing authority. I can also specify if I want to discover certificates from a particular date filter or a particular template and discover those certificates alone. Let's say I want this to run weekly, that can be done. Even certificates discovered from your certificate store on particular machine, that can also be achieved using Key Manager Plus. Other than this, we can also enable SSL expiry notifications. By default, the tool will actually send out information on certificate expiry. In addition to it, if you want to be notified about certain certificates that you want to monitor, that can be done using SSL expiry report. So you get SSL expiry schedule. So you can choose the certificates for which you want like additional information that can be done. Or if you want to group these certificates together and then like run the scan for the specific group alone and send out SSL expiry information, that can also be automated using the tool. SSL vulnerability scans. So as we discussed earlier, this can either be run on demand, or else you can also schedule them to run and send out emails about any SSL vulnerability on the certificates. Reports. So you can also schedule reports to run and send you emails. So we have a very effective reporting functionality, which is going to give you information almost on like all actions that takes place inside the tool. So for example, if you want to find information about all the servers where the certificates are deployed, or else if you want to look at SSL expiry report, or if you want to find certificates which have been signed by specific signing authority like a DigiCert or Let's Encrypt, if you want to receive a vulnerability report. So all this can be generated using the reports tab. So you can just come here and click on the report, specific report. It's gonna load us the required information. So this can also be automated from the schedules tab. Now, if you have any certificates that are actually signed by your internal signing authority, if you have discovered any certificates from your internal signing authority, like, or else like if there are any self-signed certificates, we can also automate the certificate renewal process using Key Manager Plus. So all we have to do here is like make sure Key Manager Plus service is run using a privileged account. Okay, this privileged account should have enough permissions to sign certificates. Okay, and we can come to settings, go to SSL, certificate renewal, and have the options Microsoft Certificate Authority and self-signed enabled. So if this is enabled, before the certificate expiry, before 10 days of certificate expiry, Key Manager Plus will go ahead and renew the certificates for us real time and then send out this information to us. The new certificates would be added to SSL certificates page. So the tool will automatically renew certificates for us. For any certificate that's been signed by your internal signing authority or self-signed certificates, certificate renewal can be automated. Similarly, you can also automate certificate renewal for certificates issued by Let's Encrypt, and even deploy action can be configured for Let's Encrypt certificates. Seamless integration with Password Manager from PAM 360. So as you all know, Key Manager Plus also comes as an add-on with Password Manager Pro and PAM 360 products. So it means that you'll be able to make use of your existing Password Manager Pro installation or PAM 360 installation to manage SSL certificates. All you have to do here is like just make sure that you have the Key Manager Plus add-on, or else get in touch with us to get the Key Manager Plus add-on so that you can also start managing certificates using your existing installations. So let me show you how the keys dashboard would actually display in Password Manager Pro PAM 360 product. So under the dashboard at the top, you'll find password dashboard, user dashboard, and keys dashboard. You just have to click on the keys dashboard in order to display this information on certificate expiry or certificate authority distribution information. So this is going to show the complete life cycle, or also this is going to show the complete health of your SSL certificates in this particular dashboard. And on the left-hand side, you'll find a certificates tab from where the certificates can be managed using your Password Manager Pro or PAM 360 installations. So on the certificates, you'll find all the discovered certificates. So once again, it's going to display the expiry information and the common name, DNS name. So everything is going to be the same as Key Manager Plus like display as we saw right now. And certificates can be discovered from this discovery page. You can discover certificates using an IP address or IP range or a subnet. You can also discover certificates using load balancer or MS certificate store or certificate store discovery. We also have agent to discover certificates from your PAM 360 or PMP installations. So we also have agents for Key Manager Plus. And you can also create certificate requests and get those certificate requests signed from your internal signing authority or third party. So we integrate with few third-party signing authorities. So with PAM 360 and Password Manager Pro, currently we integrate with Let's Encrypt, GoDaddy, DigiCert, and SSL Store. So similar to what we did in Key Manager Plus, all you need is the API key from the vendor. We can come and register those API key information inside the specific third-party signing authority, so that we can like discover all the existing orders and discover certificates. From that, we can like start managing them. So for example, if you want to renew a specific certificate, all you have to do here is like choose a certificate and click on the renew button. Or even if you want to create a new certificate order, you can just click on the order certificate button and choose how you want to do that. And also all these actions can be automated using the schedule SSL schedule feature. So you'll be able to discover SSL certificates, or you will be able to identify when these certificates are going to expire using the SSL expiry option. You can also discover certificates from your internal signing authority or third party. And we also have SSL vulnerability scans, and we also have reports. So almost all actions that you can perform using Key Manager Plus can also be performed using Key Manager Plus add-on in Password Manager Pro and as well as PAM 360 products. So questions. So if any one of you have any questions, we would really encourage you to raise those questions through the chat option, and we'll be glad to answer them for you.
I see a question here. Uh, what kind of certificates can Key Manager Plus renew? Only self-signed or external certificates also?
So if you see, Key Manager Plus is capable of renewing certificates which are signed by the internal signing authority. That is, anything that's been signed by Microsoft Certificate Authority that can be renewed, and any certificates those are self-signed that can also be renewed. And we can also configure Let's Encrypt certificates to be renewed. So for third party, it's going to be Let's Encrypt right now. And so if any of the third-party signing authority is going to provide us the API to automatically renew those certificates, we can very well implement that. Right now, it's just Let's Encrypt, which has given those API information. So we can renew automatically self-signed certificates, certificates signed by Microsoft Certificate Authority, and Let's Encrypt.
Yeah, here is one more question. Are short-lived certificates supported by Key Manager Plus? Shakti, can you answer this?
Yes, short-lived. Yeah, very well. So short-lived certificates are very much supported by Key Manager Plus. So any certificate that's in X509 format can be supported. To answer your question clearly, if you see using Key Manager Plus itself, you'll be able to create short-lived certificates. So while you're generating the certificate request, you have an option where you can set the validity type as days, hours, or minutes. So for short-lived certificates, you want the certificates to be alive only for let's say a few minutes, like for this specific authentication process alone. So this can be achieved using Key Manager Plus. You can very well create a certificate request with a smaller validity, get that signed from your internal signing authority, or else have all this complete process automated using the RESTful API feature that's available in Key Manager Plus. So using this, you'll be very well able to manage short-lived certificates. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining this webinar. And if you have any further questions, you can always drop us an email to keymanager plus-support@manageengine.com. So once again, this is Shakti, alias Sean, and so our host is Shweta. So if you have anything else, just kindly get in touch with us. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thanks for the presentation, Shakti. It was a very extensive session. Thanks for delving into all the details. And yeah, as Shakti said, feel free to always reach us at keymanager plus support at manageengine.com. And I guess with that, we are signing off for today.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.